one characteristic emerged as a significant predictor of success. And it wasn't social intelligence, it wasn't good looks, physical health, and it wasn't IQ. It was grit. Grit is passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Grit is having stamina. Grit is sticking with your future, day in, day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years, and working really hard to make that future a reality. Grit is living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint. A few years ago, I started studying grit in the Chicago...
How bad do you want it? That's a cliche motivational quote that pops up in nearly every motivational compilation ever, but I feel like it's essentially what grit is. It's asking yourself on them hard days where you're really not bothered, how badly do I want to achieve that goal, and am I willing to persist long enough for it to become a reality?
What are you gonna do? How bad do you want it?
Because the question isn't whether the results will come, it's whether you have the grit to stay in the game long enough to see them.
I was always certain that I wasn't going to stop. I didn't know whether I would succeed. I thought it was probable, but I did know I wasn't going to stop.
And bro, I've learned the hard way that in order to achieve any goal that's truly valuable to you, you need grit. That's why in Angela Duckworth's book on grit, she says it's been proven to be the #1 predictor of success. And when I think about it, I agree that makes pretty good sense. And of course I understand grit is not some new groundbreaking phenomenon that we've never heard of before, but how often do we overlook its importance and instead try to find some easy hack to achieve success, when in reality it all comes down to grit? And I get you may be asking yourself right now, why would I let this random dude who just makes YouTube content fill me in on how to develop grit? Alright, I'm gonna pretend not to look at the camera like I'm a real vlogger, but you know, we gotta get the cinematics in. And look bro, I get it. You'd have every right to think that. Because truthfully, I'm no expert. I don't have a neuroscience, let alone psychology degree, and I'm not a professional athlete. But with arms like this, you'd think I was, right? Nah, I'm just playing. But I have been able to develop grit in my own unique way, and it's the reason you're able to watch my content right now. I guess that was decent enough, right? Because see, I set myself a goal in May 2020 to make it as a content creator. But up until I had this video that went pretty viral last year, I'd posted on YouTube on and off for nearly 3.5 years, spending hundreds of hours editing, constantly feeling the fear of what if this doesn't work, constantly feeling fear about what if people I know find my channel, and constantly having my family think I was some sort of weird dude who just spent all his hours in his room. And during that time I was going through all of that to barely have over 400 subscribers after nearly 4 solid years. And that's when I started to think to myself, why am I even doing this? And at that point I honestly felt extremely lost. And I think that was because I had a goal I wanted to achieve, but no clear direction on how to actually achieve it. And of course because of that I spent years being inconsistent and procrastinating. And in a situation like that, the logical option for most people would be to quit. Because look, I'd agree, if you hadn't seen success after that length of time, brother, you're probably just not cut out for that thing, right? But I remember back then, this was like 2 months before I posted the video that changed everything for me, hearing Greg Plitt speak for the first time, and that's when I truly became a fan of him. Yes, I'm starting to realize I mentioned him in a lot of videos, but his work really helped inspire me at a difficult time in my life. It was a simple motivational video called Hardest Worker in the Room, and in it he said, when you find yourself going down a road and like everything is kind of going wrong, I think that's when they're
testing you to see if you're ready for the responsibility of greatness. Because with great great achievement comes that responsibility that everyone's going to be looking at you and judging you and picking you apart and trying to break you down. Are you strong enough for all that? Yes, you're capable of achieving it, but are you mentally strong enough to endure it? So when I see all these like random things going wrong in my life, I'm like, fucking hey man, why is everything going wrong? What the f did I do to cause all these problems, you know? Part of me thinks it's like the calm before the storm in a way, making sure you're equipped mentally to endure what you're about to achieve physically.
And to be honest, I watch a lot of motivational content, but man, something about these words back then were just my fuel to keep on going. Because I was thinking, hey, maybe this time I'm in is just me being tested to see, do I really want that goal badly enough? And that's when I decided I wasn't gonna be most people and I was just gonna use grit to make this thing work. I was going to actually make content that felt genuine to me. And I decided I was going to go all in for one more year. And with that, I was essentially going to take my life serious for the first time. And hey, if it didn't work out after that, I was going to be able to quit knowing for once I actually gave my best. That's why I probably am a bit delusional. I probably am a bit crazy. But to me, being crazy is settling for a life where you don't try to bring out your potential, where you don't try to push the boundaries of what you think is possible for you. To settle for a job that's just okay and lets you get by, but you're not really fulfilled by it. And that's when I decided to implement a concept called No More 0 Days. At that time, I didn't know what I was actually doing. In my mind, I just wanted to make sure I did something every day that would take me closer to my goals, but there's actually a name for this, and as I said, it's called No More 0 Days. This was created from an infamous Reddit post by this guy Ryans01 around 12 years ago, and I think it's one of the best ways you can develop grit. Because when you think about it, what is grit? It's just the ability to persevere no matter how you feel over a long enough time period until you achieve your goals. And of course, I'm probably making it sound a lot easier than it really is, because I won't lie, it's pretty damn hard and there's levels to grit. Like take someone like Goggins for example, he'd have way more grit than me, but this basic concept is what allowed me to start developing grit for myself. The basic rule to this concept is, well, as the title suggests, there are no more 0 days. What's a 0 day? Well, a 0 day is when you don't do a single fucking thing towards whatever dream or goal you want. And this was pretty important for me to understand, because previously I would work on my goals for maybe a week and then wouldn't look at them again for another month. See, the aim of this technique is just to be consistent. The point I'm trying to make is that you have to make yourself promise yourself that the new system you live in is a non-zero system. Didn't do anything all day and it's 11:58 PM? Write one sentence, do one push-up, read one page of that chapter. One, because one is non-zero. And how do you actually go about consistently having non-zero days? Well, you need to be grateful to the 3 U's. Don't! Yeah, I know I sound like some spiritual guru right now, but just hear me out, it makes good sense. He said there's the past you, the present you, and the future you. And you essentially need to make the past you and the future you your best friends. He said you need to be grateful for the past you, for the positive things you've done, and do favors for the future you like you would for one of your brothers. Stop for a second and think of a good decision you made yesterday. Got some grams of pea in and ate an egg pancake and sourdough instead of Deliverooing a Big Mac. I appreciate that, younger me. The second part of the 3 U's is that you gotta do favors for your future self as you would a friend. Tired as hell and you can't stop scrolling reels? F you present self, I'm gonna go to the gym and, as Ronnie Coleman said, lift some heavy weight. Promised yourself you're gonna get up early but the alarm goes off and the bed's too comfy. F you present self, I'm gonna get up and do this for future me. He basically said turning into an ultimate productivity master doesn't happen overnight. It happens with a massive consistent string of non-zero days. And what does this do? Well, it sets the compound effect into motion. Because during them times where I felt like all the work was for nothing and I wasn't seeing results, I now realize that the work was actually just accumulating. As they say, everything you do counts.
The biggest mistake that people make is they think that only what they want to count counts. No. When you read a book, when you listen to an audio program, when you go to a course, when you go to bed early and get up early and you work, it all counts. But when you watch television, waste time, hang out, fool around, and so on, all of that counts as well. And here's an important point. If what you are doing is not moving you towards your goals, then it's probably moving you away from your goals. Nothing is neutral.
Because think about it. If you keep taking shots every day, wouldn't it make logical sense that eventually you're gonna gain some momentum? And that video that went pretty viral for me is when I finally scored and gained some momentum. So as hard as it is, try not to be demotivated when you aren't seeing the results and realize your efforts are just accumulating. Like, there's a great quote I love in Atomic Habits that says, when nothing seems to help, I go and look at a stonecutter hammering away at his rock, perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it, yet at the 101 blow, it will split in two. And I know it was not the last blow that did it, but all that had gone before. And I believe that's the sort of mentality that allows you to develop grit. And hey, by no means am I the most successful person ever. Like, I think you already knew that because I haven't even achieved all the goals I want to achieve yet. But it's become clear to me over the last year that I think I had to go through all of that and feel lost in order for things to start becoming clear for me now. Because I know it sounds kind of wishy-washy and all, but I'm starting to realize life kind of always works in a sort of yin and yang fashion. Like, you can't have one without the other sort of vibe. Like, that's kind of just the basic laws of life. And so essentially, if you don't feel lost now, then you'll never feel accomplished later. Because failure is the price of success. Because during them times where I felt lost, I figured out what I did and didn't like. I figured out how to edit, and basically, if I'm just being honest, the reason I became pretty good at editing back then was because I was scared of what if the people I know find my channel, and I was like, shit, if they're ever gonna find it, at least have decent videos, you know what I'm saying? And by using grit to keep on going, things are finally starting to become clear to me. And not to throw out another riddle, because man, I'm sounding like Shakespeare in this bitch today, but you have to realize the path only illuminates as you walk it. That's a good quote I heard recently, because it means it doesn't matter if you don't know what to do, you just need to take action and eventually things will become clear. So brother, you can look at your setbacks and slow progress and call them failures, or you can see them for what they truly are, which is the necessary steps that everyone who has achieved what you want to achieve has gone through. So are you going to be like them, the ones who had the grit to keep on going, or are you going to be like the ones who quit as soon as things got hard? And that was my story on grit. My bad for making it all so dramatic, but I hope you gained some value from this video, and hey, if you did, I'd appreciate if you'd like the video and subscribe to help build and grow this community of like-minded people trying to improve each day. And as always, through hard work we grow. Peace.